I'm Alex Josephson, co-founder of Partisans here in Toronto, Canada. We're an architecture and design studio that primarily makes the improbable possible. We believe in the political power of architecture. The story of how we started with Bar Raval is kind of a serendipitous one. The beginnings of it were based in a project we'd already finished, which was the Grotto Sauna. And Grant Cameron, the chef of Bar Raval, was in New York in these huge meetings. And he mentioned in passing that he was going to do a new restaurant. And he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do, but that he wanted to do something in wood that was like an Art Nouveau experiment. And just happened to be that one of the people at this meeting had seen our work and was familiar with our work, was from Toronto, and said, you should look at these guys at Partisans, and that's how it all began.
Something that drew us to them was a sauna they had recently done, and it's unbelievable. They have very, crazy imaginations. So the fact that we were opening up a Spanish-inspired bar, where we wanted the whole place to be a bar and organic, and people talk to each other who didn't know each other, going with Partisans and having them execute this amazing design.
That's the great part about Grant, really. He traveled all over the world. He'd been to Prague. He'd been to these great cafes and bars of Vienna and these storied cities, and he charged us with essentially reinventing a new approach to carving wood, CNC, but also a new approach to Art Nouveau design. And this is sort of related to the cuisine he was interested in, which is Catalan. It's Spanish cuisine, and this is a Spanish architecture and influence. And I think the best clients, they give you enough freedom, but they really know what they want. Architecture needs to be a good time. We believe in that. So, the process is really, it's varied. It's not just in the studio. It's sketching in a restaurant. It's modeling by hand with materials. It's then going to the computer. It's like, I would say that to really see great products of architecture, you have to be like a butterfly you have to be working in many mediums, and you have to be able to jump back and forth so that they actually inform each other. Drawing has, in a sense, a certain way that it becomes a building if it's just drawn with a particular kind of pencil. Whereas if you're varying that with pieces of foam that are just carved and then CNC'd with a computer and then back to hand sketching, you get this really rich result. And so I think Raval is a kind of result of that process rather than, say, some kind of napkin sketch. Raval is like a 3D tattoo. Grant and his partners are sort of these buff, self-educated, tattooed guys. And we were given this space in a beautiful heritage building, and the real leap to where that design happened, the moment, is when we decided to unfold it. Imagine a space like a box, you're given a box, and you say, well, okay, let's unfold the box into those 6 squares of paper, and then let's draw on it. And we literally just put them on the walls of the studio, and we do a lot of collage work. And it's almost like a project builds up with, it's like a callus. The first couple of days of work, you're bloodied and hurt and upset and sad, and then you get, after a few months, you build up that experience and you get something good of it. But in the beginning, it's really ugly. The textures of the wood, a relationship to muscle. This was in a way related to the Grotto. He loved the Grotto. He loved the way the wood looked in that. We went through dozens of wood tests. He finally landed on mahogany, which is one of the richest woods in the world.
The day we chose mahogany was the day everything changed. What we're doing is pretty special. When we chose solid mahogany, it was just so much sexier, nicer. It was real. People come in here and they stroke the walls. We wouldn't have had that same result with stained plywood. We're going top of line for everything. We're doing the totally organic brass rail for your feet. Laser cut drip trays. Like, everything had to be the best to match how amazing that mahogany was going to look.
One of the things we learned from the sauna is you don't want to make things perfectly smooth. Things that look boring are very difficult to make. Human beings and our technology, as much as you want them to look perfect, when you ask something to do that, it's a big, big challenge. So we said, we'll just put a texture on it, which would be a kind of muscular texture. It ended up costing us, I think we spent 1,400 hours programming and actually scripting the software and building the files to create those textures, because we were entering a whole realm of computer CNC technology and design that had never been done at that scale. And so to give you some idea of the complexity of that, the actual machines, which are like in a car factory that are like those big arms with a welding thing at the end of it, instead we had like a drill at the end of it, these CNC arms. And the company that actually designs the software to run the arm had to rewrite their software to deal with the design, and we were actually working with them back and forth. The guys at Raval didn't necessarily know what was going on. We were just like, yeah, we can do that for sure. But the commitment to inventing the process to get to what we all wanted was key. Well, I guess the great thing about Raval is you can't really replicate that without tremendous effort. I think what you're going to see in food and restaurant futures is a cross between restaurant and real estate ownership, and that combination of being invested in the place and not just the product changes the game.